Hello and welcome back. Now in this video we're going to discuss about the fill and stroke in processing and how we can use those things in order to create our animations. Now as you can see, the code is the same in the previous video, so we're going to start off where we left in our previous video. So in our previous video we discussed the background color of our sketch in animation, and in this video we're gonna simply discuss about the fill and stroke of our shapes in processing. Now this is the same animation that we created in our previous video. As you can see, it is a y value is changing. That's why our shape, our circle is just going down, it is moving. And now let's just get into the fill and stroke of our shape. So a fill is basically what goes inside of our shape. Now we have an ellipse and we've set up the fill color as a red, which is 255 comma 255 comma 255. That's why it's red inside of our shape. So for just the convenience, we're gonna erase the increment in y value, so our shape does not move, and we can focus on what's going on. Now we've set up our fill as 255 comma 0 comma 0. We can actually change it to something like 255 comma 255 comma 250 comma 0, and you can see our fill is changed. It's got yellow color inside of it. Now similarly, a stroke is basically what goes outside, what goes around a shape. So as you might have already guessed, the stroke is basically the color of the edge of our shape. So we can give a stroke a color of red, and if I write it, you can see that there is a red stroke with a yellow fill. Now in processing, the fill and stroke functions, they work in a cascading functions, like a stack, so you can stack those properties on top of each other. Now if I decide to get some other shapes, let's just say a rectangle, and so I want to place the rectangle at 100 comma 1, and then we're going to give it a shape of 200 comma 200. And if I draw this rectangle, as you can see, it is exactly same as the ellipse. It has got a yellow fill and a red stroke. It is because a rectangle is using the same fill and stroke property that our ellipse has used. Now if I want something different with our rectangle, what I really want to do is I want to copy and I want to paste those properties right on top of our rectangle. Now as I've already mentioned, the fill and stroke, they work as a cascade, so they work as a stack, and we want to stack these properties on top of each other, and we can get the color of our fill and stroke. Now if I change the stroke to something like that's a green, and if I change the fill to something like this, and if I check it out, as you can see, there's a ellipse that has got a yellow fill and a red stroke, which is this, by the way, these two. And if you look at our rectangle, it has got a different fill, so it has got a green fill and this reddish stroke. It is because of these two, fill and stroke. And another thing that you might have noticed is that in every animation frame, what comes after is basically stacked on top. So you can see we've drawn the rectangle right below our ellipse. That's why you can see the rectangle is above our ellipse. So that's how things work in processing. Things are stacked on top of each other. Now we can also change the thickness of our stroke by using the function stroke weight. So the stroke, you need to pay attention. The stroke is basically changing the color of our stroke, but the stroke weight the stroke weight basically defines the width, the thickness of our edge. So if I want to give something like 5, if I define a stroke weight as 5, and if I run it, you can see that the stroke weight of our rectangle has been changed to 5 pixels in width. Now you've noticed that it has also affected our ellipse. That is because this draw function is basically running in a loop. So even though we have declared our rectangle, even though we have declared our stroke weight beneath this ellipse, but still what we're really seeing is the ellipse that is being drawn in the later animation frame. So in order to see this, if I stop my animation by using this no loop function, and if I run it again, you can see what's really happening. So our ellipse is drawn first, and the stroke weight of our ellipse is by default 1 pixel wide, and then the stroke weight of our rectangle is set to 5. So this is how things really work. Now if I get rid of this no loop function, basically it allows the draw function to run in a loop, which gives the impression that the stroke weight is being applied to our ellipse as well. But in reality, as you've already seen, that it is not. It's not happening as we're seeing, because in reality what is really happening is that the draw function is basically running in a loop, and ellipse is getting this stroke weight as 5 because we're running in a loop. So this is what I really wanted to basically demonstrate in this video, and I really wanted to discuss about the fill and stroke, and I hope you have got the basic idea of how fill and stroke and as well as stroke weight works in processing. So I think this is enough for this video, and in the next video we're gonna we're gonna discuss some more steps in processing. So thank you and happy coding.